If we could take our seats, that would be great. Okay, please take your seats. We're going to get going. Okay, good morning, everyone. It's so nice to have everyone here. Welcome to the finals of this year's Forum 4 Speakers Forum. For over 30 years, this has been a signature event of the sophomore English curriculum. It was the brainchild of former English teacher and forensic union advisor, Mr. Robert Googins. Mr. Googins adapted the criteria of interpretive reading, a public speaking event he'd coached and judged with many forensic union teams over the years, to fit the KO English curriculum. Mr. Googins served on the KO faculty for 42 years, teaching English, reinvigorating a defunct debate club, turning it into the forensic union we know today, starting the mock trial team, and coaching soccer and hockey to literally thousands of students. In an article in the KO magazine on Mr. Googins' retirement in 2008, former English department chair, longtime forensic union coach as well, Kathy Lynch wrote, "Sincerity and civility reigned supreme in every forensic union activity that Bob ran. Whether the topic he set was a serious current policy issue or a creation of his fancy. Bob stressed that 50% of debating was listening, that while wit and humor were always welcome seasonings in his speech, there was never any room for flippancy or cruelty, and that no judge or audience would believe you unless you believed yourself." To Mr. Googins, the words we speak matter, as they not only express what we think, or in the case of this forum, what we read, but also reflect on our character and our values. So it's fitting that this annual sophomore English event is named in honor and memory of Mr. Googins' service to the school. And now, to take us through the final round and to explain a little bit about Speakers Forum, our Summit-intrigued, experienced public speakers, leaders in the KO community, I'd love to welcome them up to the stage.
This competition began with all sophomores choosing an excerpt from literature, a short story, a novel, or even a poem. They then practiced and prepared a reading of it, adding their own interpretation. The first reading occurred in their classes.
The 5 finalists you will hear this morning were chosen by their peers and English teacher to represent their English class at semifinals that took place yesterday afternoon. At the semis, a panel of faculty and student judges determined who would break to the finals.
The judges for this morning's finals are Mr. Waldman, Ms. Sperber, Mrs. Garcia, Shreya Adlaka, Nidhi Bhatt, and Leo Collin.
The judges will be ranking the speakers based on the following criteria: quality and helpfulness of introduction, polish and familiarity with work, understanding of selection, voice quality, diction, literary merit, overall quality of delivery, and appeal of selection.
Lots have been drawn to determine the speaking order for today, and it is as follows. First up, we have Marin Backer. Following her, we have Genesis Frimpong. Third, we have Carlotta Petroni. Fourth, we have Alex G. And last but not least, we have Elise Gonzalez. Please give it up for them. So please welcome up Marin Backer.
Imagine being so madly in love with someone that you can no longer contain your emotions. In the story Little Women by Louisa May Alcott, a man named Laurie has a hole in his heart which he believes only the story's protagonist, Joe, can fill. In this scene, we are exposed to Laurie confessing his feelings to Joe and then getting let down by the truth. Throughout this story, we see many characters develop feelings while learning to navigate the boundaries and expectations with marriage while being a woman in the 1860s. Joe said hastily. Now you must have a good long holiday. I intend to, Lori replied. Something in his resolute tone made Joe look up quickly to find him looking down at her with an expression that assured her the dreaded moment had come, and made her put out her hand with an imploring, No, Teddy, please don't. I will, and you must hear me. It's no use, Joe. We've got to have it out. And the sooner, the better for both of us, he answered, getting flushed and excited all at once. Say what you like. Then I'll listen, said Joe, with a desperate sort of patience. Lori was a young lover, but he was in earnest, and meant to have it out if he died in the attempt. So he plunged into the subject with characteristic impetuosity, saying in a voice that would get choky now and then, in spite of manful efforts to keep it steady. I've loved you ever since I've known you, Joe. Couldn't help it. You've been so good to me, and I've tried to show it, but you wouldn't let me. Now I'm going to make you hear and give me an answer, for I can't go on so any longer. I wanted to save you this. I thought you'd understand, began Joe, finding it a great deal harder than she expected. I know you did, but girls are so queer, you never know what they mean. They say no when they mean yes, and drive a man out of his wits just for the fun of it, returned Lori, entrenching himself behind an undeniable fact. I never wanted to make you care for me so, and I went away to keep you from it if I could. I thought so. It was like you, but it was no use. I only loved you all the more, and I worked hard to please you. I gave up billiards and everything you didn't like, and waited and never complained, for I'd hoped you'd love me, though I'm not half good enough. Here there was a choke that couldn't be controlled, so he decapitated Buttercups, while he cleared his confounded throat. Yes, you are. You're a great deal too good for me, and I'm so grateful to you, and so proud, and so fond of you. I don't see why I can't love you as you want me to. I've tried, but I can't change the feeling. And would it be a lie to say I do when I don't? Really? Truly, Joe? He stopped short and caught both her hands as he put his question with a look that she did not soon forget. Really? Truly, dear? They were in the grove now, close by the stile, and when the last words fell reluctantly from Joe's lips, Lori dropped her hands and turned as if to go on, but for once in his life, that fence was too much for him. So he just laid his head down on the mossy post and stood so still that Joe was frightened. Oh, Teddy, I'm so sorry, so desperately sorry. I could kill myself if it would do any good. I wish you wouldn't take it so hard. I can't help it. You know it's impossible for people to make themselves love others if they don't, cried Joe inelegantly but remorsefully as she softly patted his shoulder, remembering the time when he had comforted her so long ago. They do sometimes, said a muffled voice from the post. I don't believe it's the right sort of love, and I'd rather not try it, was the decided answer. Lori threw himself down on the grass at her feet, leaned his arm on the lower step of the stile, and looked up at her with an expectant face. That arrangement was not conducive to a calm speech or clear thought on Joe's part, for how could she say these hard things to her boy while he watched her with eyes full of love and longing and lashes still wet with the bitter drop or two her hardness of heart had wrung from him? She gently turned his head away, saying, I agree with Mother that you and I are not suited to each other because our quick tempers and strong wills would probably make us very miserable if we were so foolish as to. Joe paused a little over the last word, but Lori uttered it with a rapturous expression. Marry? No, we shouldn't. If you loved me, Joe, I should be a perfect saint, for you could make me anything you like. No, I can't. I've tried it and failed, and I won't risk our happiness by such a serious experiment. We don't agree, and we never shall, so we'll be good friends all our lives, but we won't go and do anything rash.
That was a beautiful reading, very emotional.
So, welcome to Speakers Forum. My name's Samit, and this is Teague, and as Ms. Shefflin said earlier, we are your MCs for today.
And if you feel like I've been up here a lot, I agree. After emceeing this in Grandparents' Day in the span of 2 months, I'll be expecting a check in the mail. So you have my address if you need it. Tough crowd.
The next 3 times we come up here, we're going to do some trivia. One round will be teacher trivia. The next round will be about the superlatives teachers got in high school. And the third round will be guessing baby photos of teachers.
So we can start with an easy warm-up question. Get the crowd going.
So this is pretty simple. What two teachers are known for their big rivalry?
Jones and Goodman.
Thank you,
That
thank
is
you.
correct.
All right,
All right.
jump in.
So now we can jump right in. We have a microphone, so either me or Salant will be going around to the crowd. So the first trivia question, what teacher was in Hawaii when the nuclear missile alert went out in 2018, the false alarm? Raise your hand. Yes.
It
was Miss Berber.
Very nice, Olivia.
Okay.
All right. Which staff member was captain of their cheerleading team and won prom queen their junior year?
I have a mic and I'll walk to you, so raise your hand.
Any guesses? We have one in the back, right over there.
Hello. Oh, there we go. It works. Here, I'll come around.
Miss Loeb.
It
That
is
is
not Miss
incorrect.
Loeb. That is a great guess. Do we have any other guesses in the audience?
Come
Oh,
on,
I see one.
guys.
Woo! Wait, who was it? You?
Mr. Greenwald.
Very good guess. Oh, we haven't, but not correct.
Miss Velez.
That is
Yes,
correct.
that is correct, Miss Velez. Very good.
All right, our judges have just let us know we are ready for our next speaker. So please welcome up Genesis Frimpong.
Some historians recognize the birth of America as 1619, yet the Constitution wasn't ratified until more than 100 years later. 1619 was when the first slaves came to America. The country we call the land of the free was first built on the hard labor of enslaved people, and as the country continued to grow, it took its shape with a backbone of racial injustice. Slavery has been legally outlawed for almost 200 years, yet its legacies are still prevalent today. Punching the Air by E.B. Savoy, written in verse, follows the story of Amal. Amal has always been an artist and a poet at heart, but because of a biased system, he's seen as angry and unmotivated. At only 16, Amal was tried and convicted of a crime he did not commit. Through Amal's story, we are reminded of the potent force of the prejudices placed on young black men. Amal's story reflects the daily struggles of most black Americans who are forced to deal with the injustices of systemic racism. Young black men are placed on a fixed path in the story society writes for them. In his anguish, Amal turns to his art for refuge and uses his words to rewrite his story. Today is Friday. I'm standing in line, waiting for a shower, soap in one hand, towel in the other, when I'm pulled out of line by two of the guys who had stepped to me in Kadon. I drop my soap and towel and make my body an earthquake, but they are mountains, and they drag me to some dark room. I take blow after blow after blow until the taste of copper rises in my belly and pools in my mouth. I know better than to wipe it off. I know better than to cry. They leave my body limp and heavy. The cold floor against my skin is an ice pack. What if hell is a frozen place? I'm there, and I might die here. They can't kill you in here, but they will try, Umi says from across the round table. That's the point. Locking you up isn't enough for them. They will try to crush your spirit until you're nothing but dust, we both say together. And what does dust do, Amal? What did Maya Angelou say about dust? Umi asks. It rises, I whisper. You gotta say it loud enough for me to hear it, baby. Loud enough for you to believe it. Dust rises, I say, loud enough for it to ring in my own ears. She doesn't know how my insides have already turned to dust, and it can't rise because it's trapped here in my belly. Today is Tuesday, and we're back in Imani's poetry class. A man walks in behind them wearing jeans and a dashiki, and he glides to the front of the day room, smiling, as if we're all his sons and he's seeing us for the first time. Imani says, "I am so excited for you to meet our very special guest, Dr. Kwesu Benu." He steps in front of us and says, "Over 30 years ago, I was exactly where you are now. Accused, tried, and convicted, spending 6 years in jail for a crime I did not commit. I sit up taller because everything, time, the air, and maybe my heart stops for a moment as we listen to his story. It was a matter of wrong time, wrong place, but wrong time, wrong place doesn't make you automatically guilty. I'm sure you all know the rule of law, innocent until proven guilty. But with us, it's guilty until proven innocent. This time, we tell our stories out loud. Our voices bounce off the walls, and it almost sounds like a rap battle. And maybe if there was some dope beat behind all our truths, it would be the dopest collaboration in hip-hop history. If only somebody would listen. Imani writes on her poster board, "The 13th Amendment. Y'all should really understand this." Dr. Benu tells us to read each word out loud. We bitch and moan and moan and bitch. Nobody wants to, but I do. "So, we're like slaves?" I ask. "Is that what it says?" Dr. Benu asks. "Basically, if we've been convicted of a crime, we're slaves. So, when you did whatever you did or whatever they think you did, your life, your whole damn life, belongs to them. Now read what it says on those orange jumpsuits. You've been branded, labeled, boxed in. You've become property of the state. You don't belong to anyone while you're in here, not even to yourself. And you already know that. All those stories you just told me is a truth, and it's your truth, but it's not the whole truth." He's about to leave, and the words are caught in my throat, stuck there like stone. "Excuse me, Dr. Benu," I say, standing from my seat. I swallow back the stone and make my fist a mic. I make truth out of the air, out of the room, out of this place. If I could change one thing about that night, I wouldn't even know where to start and where to end. Maybe all the decisions, all the mistakes I've made were supposed to lead me right to this moment. Butterfly, you mean to tell me that everything I've ever done in all my 16 years of living were just so I could end up here? Butterfly, I don't know if I'll change. I've been so broken too many times that I have turned to dust. Butterfly, if you could do just one thing for me, listen to us. Listen to all of us when I say that maybe I was punching all the walls they put up around me. I was punching the air, the clouds, the sun, for pressing down on us so hard that the weight of the world made us crack, split in half, break into pieces. Butterfly, if what they say is true about you, change something big out there. Butterfly, remind me again what happens to dust."
Amazing job, Genesis. That was very impactful. And now we're back for teacher trivia. Y'all, we're back. So we're gonna head right into it. What teacher played tree number 12 in their high school's production of Annie, Get Your Gun?
If you have an answer, just raise your hand. I'll come to you with a mic. I see you,
There we
Miles.
go, we see some.
Mr. Jones?
Was not Mr. Jones.
Mr. Reynolds.
It was Mr. Reynolds.
Correct.
From tree number 12 to now. Great, up and up.
I'm surprised
All
they
right.
got that so quick.
Yes. And so the next question. Would you like to?
Sure. Which teacher wore a kilt to their wedding?
Oh, wait, we have a speaker here.
Mr. Hagman.
That
It
is
was
correct.
Mr. Hagman.
All right, please welcome up our next speaker, Carlotta Petroni.
In every nursery, some toys are forgotten at the bottom of the chest, unloved, overlooked, and untouched. But only few carry the dark allure of the Jack-in-the-Box in Neil Gaiman's creepy short story, Don't Ask Jack. This antique box has sat silently in the nursery for generations, shunned by children who sense an eerie presence inside. The unsettling toy takes on a life of its own in rumored tales about what it might contain. As Gaiman's story unfolds, the story's subtle yet haunting atmosphere and the way it twists fear into everyday objects lend it a quiet and lasting power. Chosen for its exploration of fear, memory, and the unknown, Don't Ask Jack transforms an innocent toy into a symbol of terror, capturing how we carry our fears with us and how they might return when we least expect it. Nobody knew where the toy had come from, which great-grandparent or distant aunt had owned it before it was given to the nursery. It was a box, carved and painted in gold and red. It was undoubtedly attractive, and, or so the grown-ups maintained, quite valuable, perhaps even an antique. The latch, unfortunately, was rusted shut, and the key had been lost so the Jack could not be released from his box. Still, it was a remarkable box, heavy and carved and gilt. The children did not play with it. It sat at the bottom of the old wooden toy box, which was the same size and age as a pirate's treasure chest, or so the children thought. The Jack-in-the-Box was buried beneath dolls and trains, clowns and paper stars, and old conjuring tricks, and crippled marionettes with their strings irrevocably tangled. With dressing-up clothes and costume jewelry, broken hoops and tops and hobby horses. Under them all was Jack's box. The children did not play with it. They whispered among themselves alone in the attic nursery. On gray days when the wind howled about the house and the rain rattled the slates and pattered down the eaves, they told each other stories about Jack, although they had never seen him. One claimed that Jack was an evil wizard, placed in the box as punishment for crimes too awful to describe. Another, I'm certain it must have been one of the girls, maintained that Jack's box was Pandora's box, and he had been placed in the box as guardian to prevent the bad things inside from coming out once more. They would not even touch the box if they could help it, although when, as happened from time to time, an adult would comment on the absence of that sweet, old Jack-in-the-Box and retrieve it from the chest and place it in a position of honor on the mantelpiece. Then, the children would pluck up their courage and later hide it away once more in the darkness. The children did not play with the Jack-in-the-Box, and when they grew up and left the great house, the attic nursery was closed up and almost forgotten. Almost, but not entirely, for each of the children separately remembered walking alone into the moon's blue light on his or her own bare feet up to the nursery. It was almost like sleepwalking. Feet, soundless on the wood of the stairs, on the threadbare nursery carpet, remembered opening the treasure chest, pawing through the dolls and the clothes and pulling out the box. And then the child would touch the catch and the lid would open slow as sunset and the music would begin to play. And Jack came out, not with a pop and a bounce. He was no spring-heeled Jack. But deliberately, intently, he would rise from the box and motion for the child to come closer, closer, and smile. And there in the moonlight, he told them each things they were never able to entirely remember, things they were never able to entirely forget. The oldest boy died in the Great War. The youngest, after their parents died, inherited the house, although it was taken from him when he was found in the cellar one night with cloths and paraffin and matches trying to burn the great house to the ground. They took him to the madhouse, and perhaps he is there still. The other children who had once been girls were now women, declined, each and every one, to return to the house in which they had grown up. And the windows of the houses were boarded up, and the doors were all locked with huge iron keys. And the sisters visited it as often as they visited their eldest brother's grave, or the sad thing that had once been their younger brother, which is to say, never. Years have passed, and the girls are old women, and owls and bats have made their homes in the old attic nursery. The creatures gaze uncuriously at the faded prints on the wall and stain the remnants of the carpet with their droppings. And deep within the box, Jack waits and smiles, holding his secrets. He is waiting for the children. He can wait forever.
Very creepy. Very good. Very good. That was great. So now we're going to do this part of the segment is guessing which teachers got which superlatives in high school. So like best dressed, or we have some others.
All right. So which teacher received the preppiest superlative in high school? Oh, we have a guess over here.
All right.
Let's hear it.
Mr. Chapman.
That is incorrect,
It's
unfortunately.
incorrect, although maybe. We can ask him.
Any other guesses? The question was the preppiest award in high school.
Mr. Baker.
Unfortunately,
Not
no.
Mr. Baker.
Mr. Greenwald.
That is correct. And I think if I remember here, we might have a picture. Oh wait, honorable mentions. This is Miss Velez winning prom queen, the previous trivia. And this is the preppiest.
It was too good not to put up there, Mr. Greenwald.
There we go. Which teacher or staff member won most musical and was runner-up for best smile? Oh, we got two guesses.
Mr. Goodman.
It was not Mr. Goodman.
Mr. Baker?
Not Mr. Baker. Everyone's guessing Mr. Baker. Oh. Oh, ooh.
Mr. Waldman?
It was not Mr. Waldman. Here, I see a bunch of hands.
Mr. Wiggin?
Was not Mr. Wiggin.
Guys, who has an amazing smile every time you walk through Robert's lobby?
Yes, you see her smile probably every day. Never mind.
Miss Perkins?
That is correct.
Okay. All right, let's move into our fourth speaker, Alex Jai.
In the United States of America, a black person is 5 times more likely to be stopped without just cause than a white person by police, according to NAACP. In Jason Reynolds' All-American Boys, Rashad, an African-American boy growing up in a world surrounded by racism and prejudice, becomes a part of the statistic after an encounter with an unjust police officer escalates to a racially prejudiced arrest and assault. I chose this piece because I believe that it's important to acknowledge the difficulties and obstacles of minorities, whether on the page, on the screen, or in everyday life. It was a Friday, which to me, and basically every other person on earth, meant it was time to party, or as my brother Spoonie used to say, party. The bus took forever, like it always did on Fridays, forever. So at 4th Street, I got off and walked towards Jerry's Corner Mart. I pushed the door to Jerry's open. "What's up, man?" I said to the clerk. He nodded suspiciously. There were only 2 other people in the store, a policeman and one other customer. I bopped down the magazine aisle to the back of the store where the chips were. The other person in the store was a white lady who looked like she left her office job early. Seemed to be somebody who probably had a long week at work and wanted to crack a cold brew to get her weekend started. Now here's what happened. Pay attention. I finally picked out my bag of chips. Barbecue, tasty, and easily beatable by mint. That settled, I reached in my back pocket for my cell phone to let Spoonie know I was on my way. Damn, I left it in my ROTC uniform. So I set my duffel bag on the floor, squatted down to unzip it, the bag of chips tucked under my arm. At the moment the duffel was open, the lady with the beer stepped backwards, accidentally bumping me, knocking me off balance. She tripped over me. I thrust one hand down on the floor to save myself from a nasty faceplant, sending the bag of chips up the aisle while she toppled over, slowly trying to catch her balance, but failing and falling half on me and half on the floor. The bottle she was holding shattered, sudsy beer splattering everywhere. "Oh my God, I'm so sorry," the lady cried. The guy who worked at Jerry's shouted, "Hey!" At first, I thought he was yelling at the lady on some "you broke it, you bought it" mess, and I was about to tell him to chill out, but then I realized he was looking at me and my open duffel bag and the bag of chips lying in the aisle. "Hey, what are you doing?" "Me?" I put my finger to my chest, confused. The cop perked up, slipping between me and the clerk to get a better look, but he wasn't looking at me at all. Not at first. He was looking at the lady, who was now on one knee dusting off her hands. "Ma'am, are you okay?" the officer asked, concerned. Yes, And before she could finish her sentence, the sentence that would have explained that she had tripped and fell over me, the cop cut her off. "Did he do something to you?" Again, "Me? What the hell was he talking about?" I zipped my duffel bag halfway because I knew I would have to leave the store very soon. The lady was now standing, clearly perplexed by the question. "Yeah, he was trying to steal those chips," the clerk interrupted, shouting over the cop's shoulder, then fixing a scowl back on me, he said, "Isn't that right? Isn't that what you were trying to do? Isn't that what you put in your bag?" "In my bag? Man, ain't nobody stealing nothing," I explained, getting back to my feet. My hands were already up, a reflex of seeing a cop come towards me. I glanced over at the lady, who was now slowly moving away toward the cookies and snack aisle. "I was just trying to get my phone out of my bag when she fell over me," I tried to explain, but the policeman shut me down quick. "Shut up," he barked, coming closer. "Wait, I said shut up," he roared, now rushing me, grabbing me by the arm. "Did you not hear me? You deaf or something?" He led me toward the door while walkie-talking that he needed backup. "Backup? For what? For who?" "No, you don't understand," I pleaded, unsure of what was happening. "I have money right here." With my free hand, I reached into my pocket to grab the dollar I had designated to pay for those stupid chips. But before I could even get my fingers on the money, the cop had my arms twisted behind me, pain searing up to my shoulders. He shoved me through the door, face first. He slammed me to the ground. Hurt so bad, the pain was a color, white. A crunching sound as bones in my nose cracked. After he slapped the cuffs on me, the metal cutting into my wrist, he yanked out my shirt and my pants, searching me. My initial reaction to the terrible pain was to move. Not to try and escape or resist, but to just move. It's like when you stub your toe. The first thing you do is throw yourself on the bed or jump around. It was the same reflex. I just needed to move to hopefully calm the pain, but moving wasn't a good idea because every time I flipped and flapped, the pain got worse. And I caught another blow, a fist to the kidney, a knee to the back, a forearm to the back of the neck. "Oh, you want to resist? You want to resist?" the cop kept saying, pounding me. He asked as if he expected me to answer, but I couldn't. And if I could have, I would have told him that I didn't want to resist, plus I was already in cuffs. I was already stuck. The people in the street watching, their faint murmurs of "leave him alone" becoming white noise. They knew I didn't want to resist. I really, really didn't. I just wanted him to stop beating me. I just wanted to live. Each blow earthquaked my insides, crushing parts of me I never knew existed, parts of me I never knew were there. "Fucking thugs can't do what you're told. Need to learn how to respect authority. And I'm going to teach you," he taunted, almost whispering in my ear. There was blood pooling in my mouth, tasted like metal. There were tears pooling in my eyes. I could see someone looking at me, quickly fading into a watery blur. Everything was sideways, wrong. My ears were plugged by all the pressure. All I could do was make out the washed-out grunts of a man leaning over me, hurting me, telling me to stop. Stop fighting, even though I wasn't fighting. And the piercing sound of sirens pulling up. My brain exploded into a million thoughts, and only one at the same time. "Please, don't kill me."
Thank you, Alex. Very powerful.
Teacher baby photos. Oh, preppiest again. Okay. Baby phone number 1. Let's get some guesses.
Oh, we got one guess. Here, Gordon.
Teachers, feel free, unless it's you, but
Miss Sperber.
feel free to. Miss Sperber. It is not Miss Sperber.
Miss Loeb.
Not Miss
It's
Loeb.
not Miss Loeb.
Oh, we have one in the middle right here. Or after.
Mrs. Garcia.
It is not Mrs. Garcia.
Mrs. Garcia.
So I think we have one in the middle.
Where? Right here. Okay. Oh, there's so much running. Here you go.
Mrs. Caswell.
It is not Miss
Mrs.
Caswell.
Miss Garcia.
Miss Kata Baker.
Yes, it is
It
Miss
is
Baker.
Miss Baker.
All right. Let's get some hands up. Let's see. A lot of middle schoolers. Let's see.
Mr. Chapman.
It is not Mr. Chapman. Where are the hands? Oh, here we go. You can pass down the mic. Someone raise.
Kosei.
It is not Kosei.
Thank you.
Come on, guys. We need more guesses.
You have a guess? All right. No. All right, here, I'll tell you. It's.
Mr. Martino.
It is not Mr. Martino.
We have one more.
Mr. Krause.
Lord.
Mr. Goodman?
Oh my God. All right, let's.
It is not Mr. Goodman.
Do we have anything else? Pilecki. Mr. Reynolds.
Mr. Reynolds.
Yes, it is Mr. Reynolds. Woo! We're good?
Okay.
I don't know how it goes.
All right. On to our fifth speaker, Elise Gonzalez.
According to American SPCC, 3 in 10 teen American girls will get pregnant at least once before age 20. That's nearly 750,000 teens that get pregnant every year. And 8 out of 10 teen dads don't marry the mother of their child. That's over 93,000 teens that raise their babies all on their own. In Elizabeth Backwiss's novel, When We Make It, our main character, Sarai, falls in love with a boy from her church, a boy who only falls in love with her body. And despite her mother's warnings to be wary, finds herself struggling through the difficulty that is being a single teen mother. My whole body shivers when I see him. I blame the Holy Spirit in case someone notices my shaking. I feel so guilty trying to figure out what kind of sin Church Boy falls under. Our first kiss happens in the church van. We hop on before everyone else does. When our tongues first meet, they dance like the white people do in the movies. Awkward, but sure of themselves. When it's over, Church Boy looks at me like he wants me to say something special about him. But this was never about him. Lately, I spend most of my days with Church Boy. We cut class and explore the city together. Today, we raced up and down the Broadway Junction escalators and took the J train to Cusco Street. We walked down the Broadway until we get to DeKalb Avenue, where Church Boy lives. We sit on the fire escape, and I remember what Senor Mavi told me about Bushwick burning. Hard to believe this all went up in flames once. Church Boy doesn't hear me, though. His hands are already up my skirt, trying to light a different kind of fire. Mommy thinks I'm still a virgin. It only happened once, so maybe I still think I am too. Church Boy runs his fingers all across my thighs, like they were a bad neighborhood he knew all the shortcuts through. I apologize for my stretch marks because I want him to say, "Don't worry about it," or "You're still beautiful." But he doesn't. He says nothing. And nothing is sometimes saying a lot. Instead of going back to school, I meet Church Boy under the elevated train by the Cushfrito spot on Knickerbocker. I miss the sound of the coquille, but not more than I miss the sound of the M train. I tell Church Boy all about Puerto Rican history and ask him if he thinks it's weird they don't teach us this in school. Church Boy tells me I'm talking too much and kisses me until my heart flutters like the M train is running right through it. One day, Church Boy starts acting all funny, like he's tired of hearing about my problems. It's not even like I'm asking him to solve them. Boys can't even listen without feeling like it's too much work. I'm pregnant. Mommy knows about it first, says I'm sleeping too much and gaining weight real fast. She buys a pregnancy test and asks me to pee on it. I argue my case against peeing on the stick, but she looks like she wants to forgive me. For a moment, I have a mother, And who wants to pass on that? Church boy said he's not ready to be a father. I gotta approach this wisely. If I stay quiet, I may lose myself. If I curse him out, I may lose him. I told church boy I didn't need him. Sometimes you gotta remind boys of that fact, that you were somebody before them, that you'll be somebody after. I guess he thought I would die without him, and maybe a part of me did. Shit, you're pregnant. Damn, you're not even 16 yet. Shit, stop crying. It's okay, you're okay. It's okay, you're not stupid. Stop crying. Yes, he's gone, but it'll teach you a better way to love boys who will love you like a black hole, as if they could swallow you without chewing. Your stomach will start to globe soon, and you'll feel like the prettiest piece of earth. It's time now. Look, no one will be there for you. You know that. You are ready for that. Dear unborn baby, the doctor asked me if I want him to print out a picture of you. Do people actually say no to this question? I want a memory of this moment of the first time I see you. I want to save it. I want you to have everything I never had. I want you to be everything I could never be. But I don't say that to the doctor. I just say yes. I'd like a picture. I give birth to Hope. I name the baby Hope because Hope is a good name for a girl who have to grow up believing in herself. Dear Hope, let's end this story where faith meets hope. The sadness tells me I'm worth nothing now, that I'm a graveyard, a cemetery. I worry that you will leave me, or worse, I will leave you. Until then, I promise, no. I'll have faith that I'll always give you the most habitable parts of me, the parts that made it.
Thank you very much for that reading.
And thank you to all the speakers. It's not an easy task to come up here and speak in front of everyone, so kudos to you guys. While we wait for the... Yeah. While we wait for the results to be tallied up by the judges, we have some more people to recognize.
Yesterday at the Speakers Forum semifinals, 14 Form 4 students, the top readers from each of the English 4 classes, competed for a slot at today's finals. We would like to thank the faculty judges on the semifinals panel, Mr. Levine, Ms. McKee, and Ms. Silver, and the student judges, Sam Almeida and Leah Prawl, for their support of the program and their 2-hour judging marathon. And at this time, we'd also like to recognize this year's Speakers Forum semifinalists. You can hold your applause until we read all the names. Sarah Baylog, Ashton Benalla, Ida Chapman, Zil Desai, Ellery Goodhue, Delphine Lamatina, Marco Ramirez, Daniel Rivera, Nora Sayej. Woo, give it up.
During this time, we would also like to thank Mr. Bain for our help with the podium, audio, lighting, and video for this assembly. I won't say that. He hasn't been doing
All right, so we have
it. Back to baby photos.
back to baby photos. Number 3.
Mr. Garcia.
It is not Mr. Garcia.
Not Mr. Garcia. Here you go.
Mr. Chapman.
Still not Mr. Chapman.
Miss Ferber.
It is Miss Ferber. Number 4.
We have a guest over here.
Nope.
Mr. Wiggin.
It is not Mr. Wiggin.
Mr. Waldman.
Not Mr. Waldman. It looks like him.
I can see it, but yeah.
Any other hands? Oh, we got one.
We got one right.
Mr. Garcia.
It is not Mr. Garcia. We'll take,
Sophia.
Mr. Martino?
It is not. So this is actually me. So that one is a hard one. I get that. So that is me. But this is a staff member.
As Gars, no doubt.
It is not.
You know what? I thought that too.
Mr. Garcia?
It is not Mr.
Not Mr. Garcia.
Garcia.
Any more guesses right here? Mr. Garcia, this hairstyle would look good on you. It's
Mr. Cassidy?
It is not Mr. Cassidy. She's already been mentioned during this segment.
Mr. Swan.
Not Mr. Swan.
Miss Berber,
Miss
what's up?
Berber.
It is the inimitable Miss Velez.
Yes, it is. Oh, that's Miss Berber. That's me. All right. So, we still have time. Wow. Okay, we have more superlatives from teachers in high school. Most unique. Ella Galino.
Mr. Goodman.
Not Mr. Goodman, though it fits. Who else do we have? Well, yes.
Dr. Cassidy.
Not Dr. Cassidy either. All right.
Kosei?
Not Kosei.
I feel like that would be the best guess here.
I heard Miss Berber is not Miss Berber.
Oh, psych. Never.
Uh-oh. This is Mr. Waldman. How do you feel about that?
I didn't deserve it. I don't know.
All right, yeah.
So fifth, fourth, third, second.
We will read them in the correct order this year, unlike last year.
Ask them to come up and get a plaque.
Okay.
Okay.
As we call up your name, please come up and receive your plaque, all right? In fifth place, Marin Backer. Marin. Go. In fourth place, Carlotta Petroni. In third place, Elise Gonzalez.
In second place, Alex Njaye. And in first place, Genesis Frimpong. Congratulations to all the winners. This is very challenging to do, so good job. This is the end of Speakers Forum, so you are dismissed.